Hi everyone, my name is Julie Long and I'm the founder of Safe Harbour Therapy and a practicing therapist here as well. And today, Lauren and I are going to have a chat about what Safe Harbour is, and then you'll be able to make an informed choice as to whether this is a place that you or a loved one could benefit from visiting.
So I guess my first question for you is, what is Safe Harbour Therapy?
Yes, so Safe Harbour is basically a professional wellness center that provides a circle of care for people to relieve their stress, whether it's body, mind, or soul.
Okay, and how did Safe Harbour come to be?
Well, it's been a journey that probably started in 2003 when my eldest brother Brad passed away. So he was struggling with his own mental health, and I remember trying to help him navigate services that could help relieve his distress. And that was really hard because it's not something that you frequently navigate every day. Like, where's a good place to go grab a burger, right? There's a stigma that prevents people from talking about what can help. And so he passed away. He took his own life. And after that, I was teaching as a high school teacher at the time. I just felt that my path was no longer teaching chemistry or English. It was preventing someone else's brother from taking their own life, or my own mental health struggles that resulted after that tragedy. So that was a long time ago. After he passed, I went and became a school counselor. And that's probably where the idea of this multidisciplinary center was born. Because I found that, as anybody who's probably been in a school knows, well, maybe more recently, there's a team of clinicians there. There's psychologists, social workers, occupational therapists, and physical therapists, and so on and so forth. And so as a guidance counselor, I would help students by accessing these different services in order to move past their distress in the classroom. And so being a school counselor, after my brother passed, that system sure would have come in handy for my brother in a more public setting. Beyond going to see your doctor or going to a hospital if you're completely tapped out from helping yourself. And so I wanted to create something like what I was accessing for students in the schools for people like my brother and myself in the private sector, so that, you know, they're not at their workplace. They don't have to feel like there's a stigma that, like, what if my employer finds out that I'm seeing somebody? Or, well, really, having someone else have done the work and the research to find all the different modalities that can help them and put them in one place. Because I found that trying to figure out how to help my brother, I was at a loss for what to do. I had no idea. It wasn't something that I navigated on a daily basis. So when I was a school counselor, I found that I wanted to create that kind of center. And so, you know, my post-bac as a guidance counselor wasn't enough, so I decided to go back and get my master's. So when I was doing my master's, the professors at the university encouraged us to do our own work, because I need my stuff to be clean, so that if I'm working with somebody else, it's not going to affect the work that I do with them, right? So I went to see a therapist who did EMDR, and it stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Boom, it's a mouthful. But it helped me move past really distressing life events in a way that I hadn't been able to with a talk therapist or with medication. And so I knew that that was an approach that I wanted to have in my toolbox, right? So, did my master's, got trained in EMDR, and, I love learning. So it didn't stop there. And yeah, I'm one of those people when on vacation I read like Norman Doidge, The Brain That Heals Itself, or Bessel van der Kolk's The Body That Keeps the Score, right? So I find it fascinating learning about how trauma impacts our bodies and how our bodies and the world around us actually have an innate ability to heal itself. And so like if someone cuts their finger, our body knows how to send platelets, red blood cells, and all that stuff to the site of the cut and heal it. But sometimes if the wound is too deep, we need a little bit more help, right? So the modalities at Safe Harbour are just that. They're modalities that add just a little bit more help to the systems that are already in place in order to help the body move past distress. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about that.
And I mean, that's kind of, you kind of shared the benefits of having all the different approaches.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of went beyond that wellness model that I had learned about when I was a guidance counselor, to incorporate, like Bessel van der Kolk, he has a trauma center somewhere in the States that has different approaches. I remember reading a book called The Instinct to Heal, amongst others, but our understanding, the more that we learn about how our body is impacted by trauma and like neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, the more that we know that we can move through distress and we don't have to suffer. Like mental illness, that struggle with mental health doesn't have to be a lifelong sentence. We can help our bodies move past it.
And why is it called Safe Harbour?
Yeah. Well, when I was upstairs in this same building, I was in a little one-room office. I work from an attachment perspective, meaning the people in our lives affect how we feel about ourselves and our perspective about the world and our future. And I would often describe my office and the experience that people had coming to sit with me and, moving into uncomfortable places and past their distress as a safe harbor, because life is chaotic. And, if you keep falling down and scraping your knee is going to have a hard time forming the scab and moving, like healing, right?
Yeah.
So the safe harbor idea is just coming into a space that's calm and quiet in order to find that restorative place so that you can move past distress and find healing. So it's literally the safe harbor from people's distress in their life, right? And when I was designing the logo, my parents had a cabin near Grand Beach. Mm-hmm. And working with clients, one of the ways that we help find that state of balance or rest so that we can help the body shift through distress is finding a place that reminds them of when they were grounded and calm. And most often than not, it's by water. And so, my family asks me now, is the Safe Harbor logo like Grand Beach? And I guess it kind of is, because that was the space for me growing up.
That was your safe harbor.
Yeah. And still now, like, whenever you go on vacation, it's like you got to be by the water, right? Because there's just something so calming about water. And I guess also the idea of safe harbor, like my family for me has been, that sense that someone has your back. I think that, healthy attachment is what helps us move through distress. So a lot of people, when they come to see a therapist, this is a new experience where they may not have had someone that gives them the sense that they have their back. And if we can't relax and be vulnerable, we can't move through that distress. So if a ship tore its sail out in the seas, it needs to come into a harbor to get out of the wind, to get out of the stress in order to repair. And that's exactly what being with a clinician that enables you to feel vulnerable and safe in order to do that repair.
And can you tell me a little bit about the clinicians that work here?
Yeah, so I suppose Safe Harbour is not just a safe harbor for clients, it's a safe harbor for clinicians too. So each woman practitioner here runs their own business out of Safe Harbour. And so there are actually a lot all like me and my story, where these are real people who have had adverse experiences happen to them in their lives. And they've worked through their stuff and found the different modalities that helped repair where their body was stuck within whichever dimension of wellness that they work. And so I feel very grateful for working with a team of all women who know what it's like to sit in that chair or lie on that massage table and move past that distress in order to live the life that they want, and then create their own businesses and help others do the same. Like, it's pretty amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And where is Safe Harbour located?
So we are located on Stafford, across from the Grove in a Heritage Building. And each office is actually a room that used to be where someone would live, like in the 1920s. So it's either, got a fireplace in it, or it's got a dining room hutch, and it actually feels like home and doesn't feel like that cold clinic where there's that stigma that there's something wrong with you. And so it feels warm and inviting here, so that it feels like you're just coming home to take care of yourself in a place that sees you as worthy and capable of moving past where you're stuck to live your life. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you.
Well, thank you. I hope that the people listening have a better sense of what it is that we do here, and take the time to look at the website and navigate through what we offer here, and perhaps reach out to someone that stands out that might be someone that could help you. So thank you for listening, and hopefully we'll see you soon.